Bhajagovindam chanting, verses 6 to 10.
यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायुः देहापाये भार्या बिभ्रति तस्मिन् काये बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः कस्य त्वं कः कुतायातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वम् निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। There's a question being raised to explain how do you know your guru? How am I to understand in this world who is my guru? Now, first thing we need to have is theoretically you need to understand what is the meaning of a guru. Who can be a guru? Dispeller of darkness and all that is all theoretical ideas. Okay, I'm not going into that aspect. How a spiritual teacher has to be. There are two basic points they refer. One, a person who should have two things, they say, Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. The person should have the technical knowledge, ability to communicate, theoretical understanding of concepts. Also, he should be having the experience of realization. That is, only that person can be a guru. And to take that, for Ramana Maharishi, he took that Arunachala, that the mountain itself as guru, or to say that Dattatreya had 24 gurus. All that is, fooling yourself. Don't try all that. That doesn't work for a common man. That has worked for him, it has worked for him, full stop. That doesn't mean you can take one book can be treated as a guru also. There is no necessity. But having said that, these are certain indications we give to people. How do you recognize? First thing is, Guru means a person who has these two qualifications. What is it, sir? One, he should have theoretical knowledge, concept, philosophical knowledge, plus he must have experience, reality, truth. That's what is referred as Kshotriya and Brahmanishta. If you get a combination of these two, you are very lucky. But it is not easy to get this combination. A person can be a Kshotriya, need not be a Brahmanishta. And there are people who could be a Brahmanishta but not a Kshotriya. So it is not possible to find. It's very, very rare to find that combination. Then comes the second point. That is, who we can take as Guru, sir? A Guru means the person with whom, this is what I took. A person who is accessible to me. That's all. There can be a Brahmanishta, there could be a Kshotriya, there could be a Kshotriya and a Brahmanishta also. If the person is not accessible, which means what? The person has to be a living master. That's where most of us find very difficult to deal with. We prefer a dead master. We will not prefer a live master. The dead, Guru is worshipped more. Ramana is worshipped today by all of us, not when he is alive. Paul Brunton spent some time with Ramana. After that, he left Ramana and went away. He couldn't deal with Ramana beyond a point. See, because he thought Ramana means he will be having these things. Suddenly he starts behaving some other way. Because we have certain conception of human perfection. I have a concept of human perfection. Whoever fits into that definition of human perfection, I will accept that person to be a perfect individual. If he is not fitting into that definition, then I reject him. That's what the problem is. And most of the time we feel more comfortable with the master who is not alive. You can get more inspiration from the photograph of a guru than a guru who is living in flesh and bone, they say. Living master is very difficult to deal with because he is not available for you to twist and turn to your convenience. You can't interpret him to your convenience. Whereas a dead master is at your mercy. Ramana is not there today in Ramana Ashram. Therefore, you can go and sit in Ramana Ashram and do whatever you want. He is not there to correct you. He is not there to tell you what you are doing is stupid, idiotic, you are wrong, you are not moving in the right direction. He can't correct you. That's why we prefer. So, who I should select as a Guru, sir? First point, he should be a Kshotriya Brahmanishta. Point number one. Point number two is he should be available right now. He should be alive today. 2, 3. He may be available, but is he accessible to me is the point. Can I access him? 3. 4 comes the compatibility between what the teacher's personality is and what my personality is. These 4 points you should remember. That's all. And then comes the fundamental question that, are you a student? That's all. So we start the analysis actually from here. You see, there is a Guru Purnima lecture by Swamiji, one of my favorite lectures. How to select a Guru. Lecture is for 1 hour. 50 minutes he will talk about Sishya. What are all the qualifications of a student? He'll say, you should, like, the other topic we have is another one, which sells, like hot cakes, is how to mold your children. It sells. Even today, any public lecture, we keep the CDs. It just, disappears. How to mold your children. How to mold your children. How to mold your children. Everybody. And when they listen to the lecture, they get totally disappointed. Why? First statement, nothing wrong with your child. So, there is nothing he talks about the children. Whole lecture he addresses only to the parents. Actually, it is what, sir? How to mold the parents. But the problem is what? If we keep the title, nobody will buy. See, how to? That's why a lot of people come and ask me, do you teach Bhagavad Gita? I say, yes. To my child, I say, no. To you? No. I don't have time to. I don't have things to do. But do you teach to them? So what all these people do is what? Now, all these institutions, they have also started. What? They have every Saturday evening, 4 to 5 we have classes. But the kids have to be brought and dropped by the parents. Now what are you going to do? It's far off for them to go back and come again. So what they have to do, they sit. During that time, what are you going to do? Have one more class for you also. Older generations, people used to learn. When the adults were learning something, the kids used to overhear that and learn. Today, exact opposite. We have to teach the kids. Through kids, we have to teach the parents now. La ulta. They say, Kali Yuga, no. Ulta only everything is. Guru, how do you select your guru, sir? His personality and your personality type should match. If that matching is not happening, it won't work. See, when you go to Chaitanya, he is also Shrotriya Brahmanishta. Buddha also Shrotriya Brahmanishta. Correct. But Buddha's personality is totally different. Ramakrishna's personality is totally different. Ramakrishna also will go into that ecstasy, but he will not dance. Whereas Chaitanya also goes to that emotional ecstasy and he starts dancing. Now what you do? You look at Chaitanya, you don't understand that ecstasy, but you understand the jumping, dancing. Therefore, what you also do? Start dancing. You don't understand that inner abstraction of Ramana Maharishi. You understand the external silence of him. So what you do? You imitate the external expressions of those people. You can't do that. If you do that, you will not grow. You will never understand. So you have to make this assessment. The assessment has to be very clear. My nature and what is being offered by the master, the guru. Now, if the guru is talking about Sat Chit Ananda today to you, you don't understand a word of it. Conditioned consciousness. What do you understand by the word conditioned consciousness? Does it inspire you? You see the difference. I'm only explaining. Ananda. You say, what is that Ananda? It doesn't inspire you to do anything. Whereas, when you hear, you gain this knowledge, what will happen? Peace and prosperity together. You will gain. What happens to you? You see the difference. See, it's not that, Satchit Ananda will not appear here. Not that this peace and prosperity will not have there. But the way it is presented to you, you must have the capacity. You should be able to relate to those ideas. If you cannot relate to that style, it won't work. See, so you have to cross all these four stages. Those who have crossed those 4 stages will have the capacity to establish the relationship. And one of the glorious relationship in life, soul satisfying relationship in world, is only one relationship, for which you don't have to be a guru. You can be a student, that's enough. You get the same satisfaction as that of the guru, that's it. And it is not easy to be a disciple, remember. I think surrender. I say one of the most courageous act of a human is to surrender. It is not easy to surrender. You need a tremendous courage to surrender. Surrender means what, sir? I surrender to Guru. Remember, it is not that there is a Guru and then you surrender. No. To whom you surrender becomes your Guru. That's the point. It's not that there is a Guru and then I go and surrender to him. It's not like that. To whom I surrender becomes my Guru. To whom you surrender, you need to understand what is surrender. And it is not easy. We think surrender is such an easy thing to be done. We think all that you have to do is what? I surrender to you, sir. I surrender. Everybody says, I surrender. Now, what do you mean by surrender? You need courage. What is the meaning of courage? Courage to do what? Courage to suspend my thinking and accept the other's thinking. Suspend my opinions. Suspend my likes and dislikes. Suspend my beliefs and subscribe the others. Wherever you do, that person becomes your Guru. The difficulty in surrender, and we think I have to do it. If I have to surrender, immediately we'll say what? I need to find a person who is worthy of my surrender. That is where this question comes. The very question we are asking, no. How do I find my Guru, sir? Why? Because we think that person should be worthy enough for me to surrender. See, not easy to find. I don't want to find a person who is unworthy of my surrender. Why? Because the problem is what? The moment I surrender, there is a danger. What is the danger? The other person can take advantage of me. Isn't it? They can take advantage. Advantage can be taken at any level. It doesn't make any difference, please. Advantage can be taken at the level of material. Advantage can be taken at the level of physical, emotional, intellectual, any level. And you should be willing to give up that. Now, our point of asking the question itself is stemming from where? Ensure it is not coming from there. I'm not saying, conclusively, yes, it is coming. I'm only saying ensure that it is not coming from here. That is where this question of surrender you analyze. What do you mean by surrender, sir? I surrender to you means what? When I have a disease, I go and surrender to a doctor. What am I doing there? I am keeping aside my comforts. I don't like to eat this. I like to do certain things. And the doctor says no. So what do I do now? I keep aside all those things and follow the instructions given by him. I keep aside my opinions. And the tragedy today we see is a lot of people go to doctor to tell him what prescription he should give. We go and tell him, I think this is what my problem, doctor. Why? You have studied where? Google University. Everybody is a university student now. What is that? Which universities are? Google. Because in Google, somebody written some article, you read something, and then you go and tell the doctor, this is what he should do. This is what are you doing? That's not surrender. Surrender is what? Capacity to subordinate, suspend, capacity to subsend, what is the word I'm saying? Using, I just used the word. Suspend. Should have the capacity to suspend your thinking and subscribe to his thinking. Suspend my belief. Subscribe to his. Suspend my vision. Subscribe to his vision. Then you surrender. That is why I said you need courage. Courage to do what, sir? Not for subscribing his. To suspend yours. What we do is what? Retaining my, I subscribe that also. It will not work. That is why, it doesn't, Guru is not able to help you at all. And then we think what? Something wrong with the Guru. Therefore, you leave this master, go to another Guru, another fellow. And then you stay with him for a period of time. And then what you do? Leave that fellow and go to another fellow. Leave this and go to... No. Guru means a person with whom you have a personal access. You should be able to access that person. If he is not personally accessible, we keep him secondary only, not primary. That's why it is very difficult to find a Guru. It's not easy. A personal access doesn't mean, every day you keep calling, morning. Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good evening, sir. Good night, sir. And then he also should be giving a reply back to you, saying what? Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Good evening. It's not that, please. When you have a clarification, when you are in doubt, you must have he should be available to be taken. Next question comes is you and him. Like, compatible, when I say, what I mean is this. If you are leading a brahmachari life, then taking a guru, sannyasa guru, is not advisable. I'm just, magnifying it to understand. That's all. It's not advisable. Why? You are a businessman. You go and sit with a sannyasi. What is answer he will give? See that? His equation in life is totally different. His dharma is very different. His teaching has to be very different. He cannot tell you, do business properly. If he says that, it's wrong. If you say that, that is correct. We get confused there. Yes, sir. Same thing, no. No. He should not say that. He has to say what? Sell the products at cost price. This is the cost, this is the thing. That's it. This has to be, that is how you got to give. That is what your rule is. This is the way he lives. That's the way he has to live. Whereas, you cannot live like that. Grihastha rules are very different. Brahmachari rules are very different. So the teacher, this is what I meant. The teacher should have the capacity to communicate things from your level, not talk from his level. That is called a Shrotriya. Shrotriya means a person who can discuss, take you from your level to his level, not keep talking from here, his angle. After you have got so much involved, to a person who is totally engrossed in the ritualistic pattern, you tell him rituals are not life, man. There is something beyond you got to pursue. To whom that should be said? To the person who has been ritualistic in his life. Today, you are not being ritualistic. About 75 years back, spirituality means what? Going to Himalayas. That is being spiritual. Right? Today is that spirituality. Today, how many people are willing to take sannyas? Today, how many are? That is what I keep saying. See, that Keno Upanishad master says, Sadev Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. That is the truth, not what you are worshipping. Not what you, this is not reality. God is not in the temple. To whom it should be said? God is not in the temple, man. He is everywhere. That should be told to whom? That should be told to the person who is seeing God in the temple. When you go to temple, what are you there? You go to temple for anything other than God. When you go to temple, do you see God there? Now today, people talk like that. And everybody speaks. They say, yeah, correct. God is not in temple alone. God is not temple alone. That should be told to whom? This is called teaching. Fundamental thing for a guru is lowest qualification for a guru. Least thing is he should be a teacher at least. He may not have sakshatkaram. He might not have that experience of enlightenment. But at least he must have the capacity to teach what is relevant to the people. From your level, you have to grow, man. Now, today we see what? We want the sanction or the stamping from this so-called people to further your involvement in the world. One group of people do it. Another group of people talk like this. The spiritual master should not be doing all this. That is why I say, how do you identify? Governing Business and Relationships. Read that book. What is the book? Governing Business and Relationships. We'll do all sorts of analysis. This one, stress management, productivity, time management, parenting, leadership, all that. And finally, he says, what is absolute management? Final thing is what, sir? What is ultimate? These are all local. What is the best? Last chapter, he says what? Self-realization. I said, is this a book on business? Stephen Covey will never say that. See, Stephen Covey will never say that ultimate management is what? Self-realization. And remember, self-actualization that is discussed by these people has got nothing to do with self-realization. We think, self-actualization is equal to self-realization. That's what I say. A man goes to a musician after the classical concert. He goes and tells the musician, sir, today the Kalyani Raga was superb. The musician replies, thanks you. Thanks for your appreciation. I know that you are a great lover of music and appreciate music. But I know one thing. What? You don't know two ragas. Kalyani and Shankarabharanam you don't know. Other things you may know. But these two ragas you don't know. Why? This man was singing Shankarabharanam ragam. This guy goes and says what? Kalyani raga was superb. That means what? You don't know what is self-actualization. You don't know what is self-realization also. Both are not known. So how do you choose, sir? Wherever you find these dimensions fitting, if all that fits, grapple them to your soul at any cost. Even if it means that you have to lose your worldly relationships, throw them out. Reject them, not worthy. It will be useful. It will be still worthy, in fact. I will never have the courage to say that in a physical class. This is the advantage of Zoom classes. I don't care. But if they come and interfere, leave them. That's what beautiful story in Mahabharata comes. The last Swargarohan Parva, where these Pandavas go to Swarga. They walk that single trail, they keep walking. A point comes where Draupadi says, I'm not able to walk. Please carry me. Yudhishthira says, take the 2 more steps and come to me. From then I will carry you. And she could not take the 2 steps. She falls. She doesn't turn back. Keeps going. Sahadeva falls. Nakula falls. The great Arjuna falls. Bhima, who carried all these people and walked across the jungle, could not follow. He says, brother, help me. He says, same answer. Take the 2 steps and come to me. I will carry you from there. From then I will carry you, but I will not take 1 step back. The pursuit of truth has to be like that. The scriptures, they say, this is the promise given by the scriptures. When you have that commitment, Guru will come to your doorstep. It's amazing to see. It actually works. Don't ask me the proof and all that. I've seen it. Literally he comes in front of your house. You see him. That is why we say, don't worry about the qualifications of a guru. Start developing the qualifications of a student. As a student, what is the qualification, sir? Develop that courage to suspend your thinking. You need tremendous courage to surrender. When you surrender to such a guru, he says, after that, there's nothing, man, you have to do. He will carry you from shoulder to shoulder. After that, you don't have to. Just surrender. There's nothing you have to do after that. But it's not easy to do. Having said that, it is not easy to surrender like that. Then comes all way, at every point, there are many mistakes we make. I'm not going into the mistakes that we can commit in every aspect of it, every dimension of it. Because how do you understand a man who is enlightened? How do you know a person is enlightened or not? The fact is, you cannot know, full stop. It is not possible. You can never know. Having said that, there are certain indicative definitions, indications of a realized master. Who is realized? How? There are, indications given out in the scriptures. So you got to pick up those indications and find out whether the person is really understood or not. Meaning, understood in the sense, is he having that wisdom? Man of wisdom. How wisdom works. If you understand how wisdom works, then you can understand a man of wisdom. Very easy. How wisdom works, you have to understand, means you have to understand how ignorance works. You see, that is why we say, gain this knowledge, gain that knowledge, gain that understanding. So focus on these basic things. Unfortunately, today we don't have access to the basic knowledge itself. Since we lack that basic understanding of things. How does the mind work? No clue we have, and nobody to teach also. And if at all, in the name of spirituality, religion, and all that we have is what? Some superficial things, you do. Some practices recommended, something you do here, something you do there. You think you are doing something very, very spiritual. No, it demands effort. Concerted effort is needed. Courageous effort is needed. Courage starts with what? That's what the Upanishads say. The spiritual path is not for weaklings. Upanishadic prayer is that. It says, let weak-hearted not hear this, they say. Weak-hearted people should not even hear this. It's not meant for them. It's meant for people who have that courage to question, challenge their beliefs, to challenge my values, to challenge my understanding, and willingness to suspend it. Demands a lot of courage. And if you get a chance, if you by mistake you happen to see him in the airport, don't leave. Cancel your ticket and book in his flight. If you have to pay another 5,000 rupees to get a seat next to his, pay that and get it. That will be worthy. How do you select? How do you know my gurus? How do you know a guru? Then comes my guru. How do you know a guru? This is how you understand a guru. This is a basic one. So reflect on this. Then as and when we go on, we can give various other dimensions of it also. How their actions would be, how their transactions, interactions, and all those things we'll see as we go. From verses 2 to 7, Shankara explained what is samsara. 8 and 9, he gave the process of getting out of that samsara. Without the help of a person outside the prison, it is very difficult to escape from prison. It's not easy to escape prison. You need help from outside. That is called satsang. You want to get out of prison. You are imprisoned in this samsara. To get out, there's a person standing there to help you. Take his assistance and get out of it first. Then he gives, how do you know whether you are progressing in the path? He gives the indication, stages, various stations that you come across. First station is this sangha, non-attachment. Attachment is what? Involvement. That non-involvement will happen. From that non-attachment arises freedom from delusion. That moha. Delusion. Delusion means what, sir? Further understanding of it. Furtherance of attachment is delusion. So furtherance of non-attachment is what? What is behind that will go away. A distaste will come initially. Then what is causing that taste for it will go away. What is causing a taste for it? A false value that you have posted to it. That is called delusion. Delusion means what? Delusion is only one thing. The false values that you have superimposed to the things of the world. False belief. That's why a child gets so scared of an elephant statue. I used to get really scared. In our village, we had a Mariamman temple. There are three, 4 temples are very popular. One side is the, Perumal Koil, then Ganesha, then this side is Shiva temple, the other side is that Mariamman temple. I would go to this, Ganesha temple, or I'll go to the Perumal Koil also. Hardly I go even to the Shiva temple in our village. Why? Because in that Mariamman temple, there used to be one deity called Pechiyamma, Karupai. Yeah, that's the date. This another deity. Karupai is the one. That deity I used to get scared. Like if you go to this Calcutta Kali temple, blood dripping. What you see that the long tongue, the blood dripping. 90% of us don't understand. Therefore, there is no problem for us. But if you really understand, it is. Say amongst our people, there is one belief we have. You should never marry a girl from Calcutta, they say. Why? They have long tongue, it seems. And what is that, sir? Blood dripping on that. Similarly, this typical South Indian, Brahmin family you go, they will never marry a girl from Kumbakonam, one street. There is one street in Kumbakonam. That town, Kumbakonam, there is a street. From that street, they will not take a girl. Fascinating that was. I say, so scary those girls are. I used to get really scared of this deity. I used to get scared. Why? Because the why and all today I can interpret and say why they have depicted like that, this and all is today's interpretation. But as a child, you can appreciate a God who is in beautiful alankara. And it's very difficult for you to relate to this God. It's scary. What is scaring in that? Oh, fascinating. That's called delusion. Getting carried away by the appearance is called delusion. Many see, delusion, moha has so many dimensions to it. You know, so many ways moha can be understood. And today I'm giving you two ways. One, false value that you pose on that. Second one is delusion means what? To get carried away by the appearance. With the appearance, you get carried away. What is it, sir? He gives another beautiful example. An illiterate from a village, so innocent fellow who doesn't know anything about, world. He comes to your place, you take him for a outing. Full moon night, you go to a river side and having a dinner there. It is so beautiful. And you are bathing. What? That moonlight, you are bathing in that moonlight. Beautiful it is. You are enjoying that. As you are enjoying, you are telling your friend from the village, can you believe there is no light in the moon? What does he say? He says what? Hey, I thought you have come to the city, you are studied Vedanta, you are teaching to all these people. This basic thing don't you know? What? Can't you see light coming from moon? Huh? As you are experiencing, enjoying the moonlight, with the moonlight only you are able to recognize my face. Because of the moonlight only you are able to recognize the food on the plate. You are taking and eating. As you are having all these things, you are telling me what? There is no light in the moon? Are you mad? And still the truth is what? This is called getting carried away by the appearance. You don't penetrate. You feel what? Attachment is natural for life. You never understand how attachment is so unnatural. Detachment is natural. Attachment is not natural. Now to all of us, we think what? Attachment is so natural. Why? Apparent. It appears like that. Since it appears, you get carried away by that. That weakness to get carried away by the appearance is called moha. He says that moha will go in you. So when you are maintaining satsanga, what should happen to you, sir? Your false notions, the false values that you are giving to the world, giving to the things around you, giving to yourself, that will go. 2, the weakness to fall for the appearance will go. Getting carried away by the appearance will go. Then what will happen? Nischala tattva. That steadfastness will come into picture, which is not easy to achieve. That demands another effort. What does Nischala Tattva say? Nischala Tattva means you are not having the doubt about realization, at the same time, you cannot convince yourself life is realization. Spirituality means only one thing, realization. Anything other than spiritual, that has got nothing to do with spiritual, that has got nothing to do with religion. Religion means realization. That's it, nothing else. That capacity to stay in that thought, stay in that idea, that's called Nischala Tattva. In that vision, you should be able to stabilize. Anything comes, will carry you away. Otherwise you are what, sir? Feather in summer breeze. It blows in this direction, you go in that direction, some other direction, that direction, you keep flying. That's the other one. Nischala Tattva is, I don't have the doubt, and also I am convinced. Otherwise, what will happen is, it is very, very easy for you to move away from the doubt. But do you have the deep conviction? That will not come. See, you people will not have the doubt that bhajagovindam class will be helpful. Do you have any doubt? None of you will have the doubt. What's the proof? You are sitting in the class. Correct. That doesn't mean you are convinced this is the only solution. You will say what? Ishwaran talks well. It is different from only Ishwaran can teach. You see that? I'm not saying this is what you have to conclude, please. I'm only giving an example to understand the difference. It is very easy for you to convince the world that the mission in life is to realize. Almost impossible to convince yourself that the mission in life is to realize. Nischala Tattva means that. What's that? Being convinced that this alone is nothing else. What is the mission in life, sir? This is the sole purpose of my life. There is no other purpose I have. Very, very difficult to get it. Next stage is that Nischala Tattva. Once you get that, pursue. See that this is a station, remember. This is not the finality. This is the state you reach to. And then you continue your journey, continue your effort. When you continue your effort, what will happen, sir? Your next final destination will come. What's the final destination called? It is called Jivan Mukti. Mukti, liberation. Jivan Mukti means liberation in life. When you are alive, you get liberated. In liberation concept, there are two types of liberations we have. Mukti. One is called Jivan Mukti. Another one is called Videha Mukti. There are two ideas. Realization, this is technical. Now, this is not necessary, but since Shankara is using the word, you have to understand. There are two ways of realization possibility. One group of philosophers, they say, realization is possible when you are alive. Another group of philosophers, they say, realization is possible only after your death. That's all. These are the two schools. And Shankara subscribes to the school of Jivan Mukta school. Now today we don't have anybody who is following that Videha Mukti school. Videha Mukti ideas is not, because Shankara has already eliminated those people. There are various wrong notions were practiced during Shankara's period in in the society. They say there supposed to have been about 72 religions existed during Shankara's time. All that he eliminated. And of which we think, Buddhism was chased away from India because of Shankara, which is not a very right idea. Buddhism was chased away by him, not by him. Buddhism was chased away by other two fellows called Udayanacharya and Kumarila Bhatta. Those two people, not Shankara. You may say, what's the proof, sir? In the Shankara's commentaries, only few places where Shankara provides arguments explaining the fallacy in Buddhistic philosophy. See, he doesn't talk much about it. If Buddhism were to be a very prominent religion practiced during his period, he should be talking more on Buddhism, which he is not doing. Why, sir? That's a proof. It was already gone for various reasons. I am not getting into the background of it because that's a separate concept by itself, separate study, which is more of a scholastic study. This is nothing to do with philosophy, spiritual or anything. It is only what I call a spiritual gossip. These are all spiritual gossips. What happened Buddha's life, what happened during Shankara, what he did, so what he taught is more important rather than these things. But however, it's a very a strong belief we have that it is Shankara who chased Buddhism away from this country. I say no, more than Shankara, these two people had contributed it more than Shankara, more than him. Udayanacharya of Nyaya school and Kumarila Bhatta of Mimamsa school of philosophy. These two people were the ones who had contributed more, not Shankara. One of the things is this: the Videha Mukti school is the teaching practiced by one people. They say what, sir? Only after, for which you need to know the basic concept. The concept here is this: when you are taking birth, we will go on study in more detail in the later verse. I'm not going to be explaining it right now. I'm just stating it now. I will explain it later. When we go to 21, I'll explain there. Right now, all that you have to understand is this: whenever a human being takes birth, how the birth happens, sir? Birth happens because of a set of vasanas called as prarabdha vasana. This prarabdha vasanas from the total vasana. So there are 100 vasanas I have. Assuming, I'm just giving a assumption, that's it. 100 vasanas I have. Out of that 100, 10 forces me to experience. Necessitates an embodiment, necessitates an experience. That 10 vasanas is called as prarabdha vasana. Now 100 minus 10. Now I have 90 here, 10 here. One school says, in this lifetime, if I knock off that 90, I have attained moksha. Moksha means knocking off that 90 is called moksha. Another school says, knocking off that 90 plus this 10 also alone can be treated as moksha. This is the argument. Shankara says there is a lot of problems in this idea of saying only knocking off 100 is moksha. Then what will happen? How do you know there is a thing called moksha itself? Because only after a death if you can get moksha means no one is going to come back from death and say this is what it is. You may say Christ came back, no sir, but he didn't do any teaching after that. Christ brought, Lazarus back from death, but Lazarus did not come and give a teaching after that. Nobody till date who died and came back and told us, yes, there is moksha. So, Videha Mukti, moksha itself is, so you start with the assumption that life we can get moksha, and you come to conclusion what? Moksha is an impossibility. You will never know. So if I am not going to know there is a thing called moksha, what am I pursuing then? What are they teaching then? So all the teachings, all my pursuit, everything goes out of window. All that stands valid only if I subscribe to the possibility of moksha. If moksha itself is beyond life, means there is no guarantee that for an existence of a moksha. Why? No one had come and told us. Therefore, what is the idea? That's why Shankara gives an argument and says, no, it doesn't work like that. And go into the analysis of what is the nature of prarabdha vasanas, and then go into the nature of sanchita vasana, all those things. And then he says, prarabdha vasana will never deter you from experiencing Brahman, realization. So, nothing wrong in that. So, therefore, you don't have to worry about it, he said. This is how we analyze. So, they start the whole thing with this satsang, he says. Satsangatve nirsangatve. Nirsangatve nirmohatve. Start with what, sir? Start with the goal. What is an ideal you can have? Ideal has to be Jivan Mukti. Decide that first. Don't say, I've started late, I'm already 60, I'm already 70. The goal of realization has got nothing to do with your age. Remember that. It is not that the person who is in 20 has a better chance of realizing than a person who is in 80. There's no such thing. To fix the goal of realization has got nothing to do with your current age. That is why Shankara bhajagovindam itself is addressed to an old man. Isn't it? Shankara is not talking to a young boy. He is talking to an old man. Bhajagovindam. So, you can't say that it is possible only when you are young. Age has no relevance to keeping the goal realization. That's why he gives Jivan Mukti. Why? You keep the destination first. After you decide the destination alone, we can decipher the path that you have to take. You get into an auto, first question that auto fellow will ask you is what? Where you want to go? You say, I don't know, go. If you say, he will take you to Nimhats. That's all. I don't know where to go. Go somewhere. Means what? No. First, fix the destination. Remember that. The destination that you fix alone you will achieve in your life. Your achievement in life will be only one chance is there. Or rather, okay, two chances are there. You fix a destination, only two chances. Either you arrive or you fall short. But you can never overshoot. That is impossible. Remember that. The direction in which you are growing, your growth is directly connected to what you keep as a destination. That's what you see people. You can never go beyond that. You can achieve that or you can underachieve. You can be an achiever there or you can be an underachiever, but you can never be an overachiever to your goal. So he says final goal a human can conceive is Jivan Mukti. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What is the meaning you are going to give for Jivan Mukti? We don't care. You give your own meaning to it. Jivan Mukti means this, sir. You keep. Who cares? No one cares about it. However, they say what? Get that goal. Like that's what we keep saying in English. We say self-realization, self-realization, self-realization. Suppose if you cannot conceive self-realization or keep self-realization as a final goal, but I need an intermediate targets. See that intermediate targets like a long term and a short term. You do the planning, no, in the organization. Long term, we have to be there, and a short term target for this month, target for this quarter. You keep a target also, no? So you have a goal and you have a target. Same way here, you keep a target. What is a target? Purification. Self purification. Start purifying yourself. Make yourself better and better and better. More refined, more cultured, more refined, more sensitive. Today your life is what? There is no sensitivity. You are living a life of numbness. It's so numb, life is. That's why you are getting bored. That's why you need stimulations. You see, you need, stronger stimulus is needed for you to pep up. Why? Numb life. That's called self-purification. Purification in the sense that, how do you make that's what we call self-purification is what, sir? Shaucham. Amazing quality. The only scripture in the world discusses about this quality called cleanliness as a spiritual discipline. No other scripture in the world has discussed about cleanliness, and only in this country we lack absolutely. I've seen temples where I've seen in houses also where the flowers dried up, not removed. Flowers they keep is dried. Now they're still lying there. You see, why? You don't register it. You see, it's called sensitivity. You should be sensitive to recognize things. Purification. That purification will facilitate you to progress towards realization. So, goal, realization. Target, purification. That's all. Don't worry about all this. These are all too many things. Today's context, if you have to understand, like Shankara is talking about Satchidananda. You don't understand Satchidananda. What inspires you today is what? You study Vedanta, what you will get? Peace and prosperity together will inspire you. That's all. Like that, I'm only reconstructing the same thing. What is that he is saying is only these two things. He says, you keep any one of these things as targets and keep that as a destination. Your growth is guaranteed. Maintain your satsang. The satsang maintenance that effort to maintain that satsang will facilitate you to purify yourself. What is purification, sir? Sensitizing. You become more and more refined, sensitive, alert. Your alertness should get more and more. That acute awareness. Nothing goes without your notice. That alertness, that sensitivity has to come. Once that comes in, you can comprehend enlightenment. To do that, what you have to do, sir? Maintain satsang. Satsang is what, sir? Guru. What does he do, sir? He does two things. He will give you instructions. He will give you teaching. There will be teachings and instructions from the Guru. Understand the distinction between the two. That is why you need purification. What? You need alertness and sensitivity to recognize the difference between teaching and instructions. When he teaches, analyze. When he instructs, follow blindly. That's all. What we do, exact opposite. We blindly follow the teaching and start analyzing the instruction. That's why nothing is happening. Purification, we don't understand. You don't understand these things. Why so much of confusion, sir? Because we don't understand the context of all these things. When you do this, progress happens automatically. Very, very important verse. One of my favorite verse. Keep thinking there. Analyze that carefully. Satsanga is what? Nirsanga is what? What is Nirsanga? What is non-attachment? What is non-attachment? He's not saying detachment. He says non-attachment, non-beauty. Why? Pay attention to those details. Right. Meet you on Monday. Thank you.